everybody. Welcome to day 2 of the 12 days of archetypes. So, today we are diving into the lover archetype, which is connected with Taurus rising. So, I'm going to wait for just a second until I see some people get on for our session today. But for all of you that are watching the replay, thank you so much. So, in case anybody is hearing about this for the first time, what we are doing, we kicked it off yesterday, but we have the 12 days of brand archetypes. So every day we are going live in this group, and I'm also sending out a detailed email talking about one of the 12 brand archetypes. So your brand archetype is essentially who your brand is here to be. We use your rising sign, your ascendant sign, to determine what your brand archetype is. And your rising sign is who your soul came here to be. It is the highest expression of your life and your soul and your potential and your magic that's available. And it makes perfect sense to use it to determine your brand archetype. Okay, so today we are diving into the lover archetype. I'm really excited to talk about this one because I think this is true for all of the archetypes, but they all tend to have their own stigmas with them, right? They all tend to have their own stereotypes that we associate with them. And so when we find out that we're a certain brand archetype, it's really hard to wrap our mind around it and to understand. And before I actually dive into the training and the charts, I want to let you know that Spellbound, the Magic of Client Attraction, is currently open for enrollment. We open this program twice a year, and it's the joy of my life. It is the love of my life to run this program and to be able to deliver it to you. So we opened doors a couple days ago, and we close them at the end of next week. So if you want to join us and learn how to create a brand that attracts your dream clients on autopilot, just by aligning to your brand archetype and your human design, then Spellbound is the place for you. So let me put the sales page into the comments and you can check it out. So doors are open for a while. I want to make sure if you have emotional authority that you have plenty of time to feel into it and to go through all of it. And really, let's see here. There we go. And really make sure that it's the right fit for you. And if it is, I would be delighted to have you. So Spellbound opens, or rather, it starts on May 6th. And when you enroll anytime between now and May 3rd, when doors close, you get instant access to Brand Rising, which is the pre-work. And Brand Rising is all about really activating your rising sign, that archetype within you, so that your brand comes from this embodied approach, right? It's this embodied magic and not this outside theory that we're trying to step into. Okay, so let's chat about the lover archetype. The lover archetype, I talked about this yesterday in the heroine session, but I'm going to talk about it in every single one of the archetype trainings because it's really important. But basically, our mind understands the archetypes in the way that we're commonly modeled that archetype. So, for example, with the heroine that we talked about yesterday, we see her modeled a lot as the superhero. So, when you find out you're the heroine archetype, you might automatically think of Superman and be like, I don't resonate with that. So, with the lover is, as you have probably already assumed, she's all about love, right? She is the embodied expression of love. So the way that we see her displayed and modeled in movies and in books and in media and in brands and in advertising and songs and art and all of the things, the way that we commonly see her is as like the sex pot, right? Like the femme fatale character. Like if you've ever seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Jessica Rabbit is a great example of the really like high extreme of that lover romantic femme fatale expression. So every archetype has a million different expressions, and the expressions are just common ways that we see them portrayed. So if you think about like Hollywood starlets, like Sydney Sweeney is the it girl of the moment, right? And they portray her to be this like she just oozes sex. She just oozes sex appeal. Megan Fox is another example of that, or Scarlett Johansson, right? That kind of like just romantic figure. That is just simply one expression of the lover archetype. We also see the lover archetype used in this very surface level with a lot of brands that are focused on beauty and appearance. So Victoria's Secret is a surface level expression of the lover archetype. And I don't even necessarily mean that in a bad way, right? When I say surface level, I just mean that there's not a lot of depth to it. It's about looking physically attractive on the outside. So any kind of fitness, anything that's focused on the physique and like the aesthetic of the body, that kind of thing is the lover expression. Any kind of makeup that is about like false eyelashes and eyeliner and all of that stuff, like that's the lover. Any kind of nice, expensive perfume, or even we can start to verge into any kind of decadent brand like Godiva chocolates, or any kind of high class, high end wine or high end dining, right? Any kind of just like sensual dining experience where they have white tablecloths and candles on the table, right? And every single moment of that experience is mapped out. That is the lover archetype. So I want to talk about the lover though from the perspective of a spiritual brand. People that are here to, brands that are here to add to the world, right? To give through their work, to give through their business, to give through their brand. People that are here to coach others, mentor others, guide others, help others improve in some way. So that is the cornerstone of any lover brand, is improvement. It is personal improvement. So those examples that I was just giving you with like Victoria's Secret or makeup or any kind of fitness regime that's focused on the physical appearance of the body, that's still improvement, right? Someone wants to look better, they want to feel better, they want to have higher self-esteem about how they look. That is an example of the lover. But any kind of pursuit of self-betterment from the um, drive and motivation and intention of love is a beautiful example of the lover taken deeper and expanded into a more uh, multifaceted version of this archetype. So, some of the main components of the lover essence. The first one would be presence. So the lover archetype is really, really gifted at being present. So we can see this displayed in, like that example I used of fine dining, right? That's all about being present. That's about hearing the music playing. That's about smelling the delicious smells in the air. That's about looking at all of the beautiful decor that's in the restaurant, right? And then of course it's about tasting and really just being there and being part of that moment. So any kind of how do I want to say it, any kind of content, any kind of initiative, any kind of action that you can take in your brand that helps someone like be a part of the experience, right? Lover brands are very experience based. So it doesn't mean that you have to have an in-person brand or anything like that, but how can you make your website an experience? How can you make your social media posts an experience? How can you make your live trainings an experience? And that can be as simple as adding some music to the intro of your live trainings or anything like that. So the lover is all about presence and more so experiencing what is happening in that moment. So the lover, she's very sensual, meaning her senses are engaged and she celebrates her senses. So again, we see that portrayed a lot as sexuality in the media and things like that, but it goes so far beyond that. So like I said, when you are creating for your brand, how can you engage all of the senses? And that just might mean being more descriptive in your writing, learning how to tell more descriptive stories, really igniting your own senses as you remember something that you experienced and now you want to tell a story about it or something like that. So the next piece of the lover essence is love, of course, right? So the lover brand is simply an embodiment of love, a celebration of love, an expression of love. And the deeper that we can get with that and the more intention we can put behind why she is doing something, the more you're going to be able to connect with that love. So what I mean by that, those examples that I was using of physical improvement, right? Victoria's Secret, any kind of workout brand, that kind of thing, you can take it a layer deeper. Why does somebody want to look physically appealing, right? And it could be because they love themselves, they love their body, they love taking care of their body, and they know when their body looks fit and it is fit, it's because it's healthy. So that, like, really adding intention to the actions is a huge part of activating that deep, expansive, multifaceted lover within a brand and within your offers and within your message. And then the third part of the lover is passion. So this kind of goes hand in hand with the love part, but she has a real joy for the things that she's doing. Nothing about the lover brand is ever, 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 ever going to be lukewarm. Everything that she does is because she wants to do it and she's passionate about it and she loves it. So the way that you can start to embody this and to exemplify this in your brand is with yourself, right? So the actions that you're taking. For example, sharing on social media. That task in and of itself can very often feel tedious and it can feel daunting and it can feel like a chore, right? So, how can you tap into that task and turn it into something that feels really good to do? Something that you're passionate about doing. That might look like changing the way that you do it. That might look like doing it less. That might look like giving yourself permission to only do it when you are feeling connected to it and loving it, but really fusing your brand with passion and with love and with presence is how to start to embody that lover brand. So, just for clarity's purpose, I tend to repeat myself a lot with these kind of trainings, but I think it's really important because our mind tries to feed us stereotypical versions of the archetypes, and it's so much bigger than that. It's about the essence, right? It's about the identity, it's about the embodiment of it. So as long as you can really make sure that your brand loves something, right? It's this expression of love for something, and we're going to go into what that something might be in just a minute when I look at your charts. But as long as your brand is really an expression, a celebration of love of something, and there's passion behind the things that you're doing in your brand, and that doesn't mean that every single moment you have to love every single task, but it all is for something, right? There is something that you're doing, or rather, you're doing these things in order to bring something that you love to life or to light or to allow it to happen. And then presence. So being really present in the things that you're doing. Notice if you tend to disassociate when you're doing tasks in your business, or if you tend to numb out or anything like that. So if you ever feel disconnected when you're doing stuff in your business, like disconnected physically, try to bring yourself back into the body. So the lover archetype is aligned with Taurus rising. Taurus itself as an archetype, Taurus is an earth sign. It's all about really feeling, right? Like being at home in your physical body, right? Being at home on this planet, really feeling and acknowledging and knowing exactly where you are at all times. And a simple way to say that is being present. Okay, so I still see that nobody is on the live, which feels odd to me because normally we have people on the live video. So let me see if I can bring it up in a different tab and see if this is something on my end. Let's see here, one moment. Oh, I do see some people now. I'm not getting comments though. Oh, here we go. Hi, y'all. Sorry, it was showing me that there were 0 viewers. And I was like, I never have 0 viewers. Marianne, hi. Karen, hi. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you resonate with that. Exactly. So there are so many kinds of love. And again too, like you can have a lover archetype brand that is all about physical love, that is all about sex. Like that's very aligned with the lover, but that doesn't it's not what you have to do for the lover brand. You don't have to pigeonhole yourself into that. I had a client, she was in Spellbound with me last year, and she's the lover archetype, and it was such a beautiful example of this, but she has a day spa. She has a physical spa where people come in for beauty treatments. And she was working on expanding her brand, adding more like digital courses and passive income and products and that kind of thing. And so she ended up really tightening up her messaging around self-love, right? The idea of self-love, taking time for yourself, getting a facial because you love yourself, you love your skin, you love all of it. And it's like for the celebration of love, but that was the way that it was manifesting. So really that's the first question as the lover archetype to ask yourself is what is my brand celebrating? What kind of love is my brand celebrating? So just like Marianne said, there's so many kinds of love. It can be physical love, it can be self-love, it can be love of just life, it can be love of the spirit, right? So God or any kind of cosmic divine stuff like that. It can be love of learning, but the most important test, I guess you could say, for the lover archetype is to ask yourself, do I have passion for this? Like, can I feel something burning within me? If it feels lukewarm at any point, that means that there's an invitation for you to really reignite that flame. So, we can think of this like, let's use the analogy of a relationship. When a relationship first starts between people, they're usually hot and heavy for each other, right? There's a lot of flirting, there's a lot of just passion for being together and for that relationship as it builds. There's a lot of celebration of love, whatever that looks like physically for that couple. There's a lot of just time together and there's a lot of presence. But after that couple has been, let's say, married for 10 years, that passion can start to fizzle out. But that's not an outside thing that just happens that you have no control over, right? You can always reignite the flame for whatever it is that you are devoted to, for whatever it is that you're in love with or that you want to show that you love. So it is work sometimes, especially if just we're humans, so we all experience lows and funks and all of that kind of stuff, but what can you do personally to reignite that flame within you? Okay, let me check your comments. Awesome. Karen, are you the lover archetype as well? I know Marianne is. So whoever is on with me, my tech is being weird today, so I don't think I'm seeing all of your comments, but whoever's on, and if you're the lover archetype, let me know. Okay, now I'm going to dive into the charts for the lover. So what we're going to talk about today with your charts as our guide is essentially, what is your brand here to be a representation of in terms of love? What is your brand here to love fiercely and to be an embodiment of that love? All right, so before we dive into that, does anybody have any questions about the lover archetype in general? About who she is, about her essence or details or anything of that sort? I'm also going to send out an email with more details about her today, so keep your eye out for that. Okay, I don't see any questions. So what we're going to look at today is going to be your love gates in your chart, and we're also going to look at your Venus placements. Taurus is ruled by Venus, so there's like this goddess energy, right? There's this very deep, sensual, feminine energy with this archetype, which is great for the spiritual space. So if you do any kind of spiritual coaching, or if you work with any kind of energy of any sort, like feminine energetics is really, really aligned with your brand. And that's really great news as well, because that's very popular right now and it's very needed and it's very trendy. I always say the word new paradigm, and what I mean by that is really shifting more into the feminine energy led brands and pursuits rather than the masculine energy. Not that there's not a place for the masculine energy, but we've been conditioned and taught and told that masculine energy tactics are the only way to create success. And so the lovers, in my opinion, I really do think that the lovers are the new paradigm leaders. You're here to really show us what the embodiment of feminine energetics looks like, and the way that that is meant to come across, like in the full expression, is through the embodiment of love. Okay, I'm just trying to find some charts of people that are on live with me. Marianne, we're going to start with yours. Okay, so the first thing I want to look at is the love gates. And this one, let me see. Sorry, this chart's a little blurry, so give me 1 second. Okay, so I don't think you have any. Oh, you have gate 46. Okay, so Marianne has gate 46 defined. So there are 4 love gates. I'm going to talk about all of them, but I want to talk about them through the lens of specific charts. So gate 46 is one of the 4 love gates, and it is love of the body. The gate itself, I call it the gate of serendipity. It goes by lots of different names as it just depends on who the human design teacher is, what name they use for the gate. But I like to call gate 46 the gate of serendipity. So gate 46 is all about love for the physical body. And this is a great example of what I was talking about at the beginning, where to really step into the full essence of a lover brand, put intention behind any kind of action. So if someone is eating healthy, if they're eating clean, if they're drinking their water, right, they're eating their vegetables, they're getting 8 hours of sleep a night, they are moving their body through workout, they are expressing physical love with their partner when they feel aligned to, and all of that kind of stuff. The high expression of gate 46 is because you love your body and you know that it's a direct connection between your soul and the divine. So, feelings are a huge part of gate 46, right? So, any kind of emotional intelligence, any kind of working with people or having a brand message centered around the celebration of the, like, just the ability to feel things, whether it is a negative feeling or a positive feeling, right? Just celebrating that mere ability to feel things. Um, is a great example of gate 46. And Marianne, you also have a completely open solar plexus, which is the center that's in charge of our feelings, the center that's in charge of our emotions. So anywhere where we have an undefined center, which means the shape on the chart is white, or it's open, which means none of the numbers are circled in, that is where you have so much potential for wisdom and so much potential for magic. So I love that you are the lover archetype. I love that you have gate 46 defined, especially since it's in your unconscious Mars. And Mars has to do with like masculine energy. It has to do with action. It has to do with doing. So I love that you're like your whole chart, and you have, oh my gosh, yeah, you have gate 2 and your undefined sun. Like everything about your chart is bringing a feminine energetic touch to life. So, Marianne, since you're on live with me, tell me in the comments, action, passion, and my baby daddy is an emo manifester. Oh, I love that. Yes, I do. So vital. Okay, I'm not seeing all of the comments right now. So sorry if you've already shared this and I missed it, but tell me, what is your brand? What do you do? I would love to know. It feels like you already are such a beautiful high expression of the lover archetype. And so this is even more exciting because you can share some of your wisdom with us with this archetype. Um, I'm going to wait for your comment to come through. But yeah, so there's like so much. What I do when I look at charts, trying to find the brand within it, is I start to look at the different gates, right? Look at the different placements and all of the different foundational parts of the brand within the chart. But what I'm looking for is a theme or a really sharp contrast. Both of those, like a very solid theme throughout a chart or a really sharp contrast throughout a chart, is the brand strategy. So Marianne, your theme, it's very cohesive, but it's that feminine, present, feeling based, right? Emotion based sensuality. And sensuality does not mean sexuality. It means like actually feeling our feelings. It means actually engaging with our senses. Okay. I don't see any comments coming through, but if you heard me, Marianne, tell me what your brand is and we can expand on that. The other two things that I want to look at here for the lover is going to be your Venus gates. So just for everyone, your Venus placements, first of all, your Venus looks like that typical female sign. It looks like a head with a little body, and you're going to find that right in the middle of the chart. So if you're ever confused about the symbols, just Google like Venus glyph. The word for it is glyph. So you can do human design Venus glyph or human design Mars glyph or whatever, and it will show you an image of what it looks like. I always find that that's the easiest way to make sure you're looking at the right number. So your Venus placements and your brand strategy represent your brand values. And your values are, you know, your personal values, of course, your personal morals, but it goes deeper than that. And it really gives us insight into what we cherish, into what we personally cherish and value in this world. And if you think about it like that, like it's really easy to build a brand around that, because when you cherish something, when something is just so valuable to you, right? Like think about if you have any children, like your children are the most valuable thing in the world to you, right? Like think about when they were an infant. It was the most valuable thing ever, the most precious thing ever. And all your mind did and still does as a parent is thinks about that child, right? Where's my kid? How are they doing? What do they need? Are they okay? Are they safe? How can I help them? How can I comfort them, right? Like all you do is think about them, all you do is talk about them. Like it's your whole life becomes about them because you deeply cherish and value and know how precious that little life is that you were given. So it doesn't, that was just an example, right? But think about anything else in your life that's valuable to you. If you have a diamond ring, if you have a home, right? Anything like that, you're going to always be thinking about it. It's going to be in the back of your mind, and it's going to be really easy to take care of. It's going to be really easy to show up for. You're naturally programmed to want to help it grow and help it survive and help it flourish. I have three kids. I'm an intuitive channel. I combine tarot, human design, astrology. I recently pivoted. I love that. The Taurus rising brands, the lover brands, are a beautiful channel because if we're thinking about feminine energetics, right, that means that you are here to receive. And that is what a channel does, is it receives from that divine connection. So I love that. Any kind of work that you can do just adds the lover brand to connect with whatever your idea of source is. So whether that's God or the goddess or your higher self or the universe or angels or whatever feels aligned for you and feels good for you, you really are here to be this divine channel for us and to share messages. But a lot of times the way that you articulate that message and share it with us is through the experience of it, right? Being the example of what it looks like to love something big and love something fully. Heather said the lover brand is amazing. It is, right? Especially when we understand on like who she is on a deeper level, not just that romantic version that we see expressed. Although that is a version and it's beautiful and it's perfect, but that's not all there is to this archetype. Heather, are you the lover? Um, Also too, just on that note, like any kind of love story, like The Notebook or anything that's even sexier than that or whatever, like that's always going to be the lover brand for sure. I always I always like after I've been listening to Taylor Swift's album, as I'm sure y'all know, since it came out Friday, and she's such the lover. Her overall archetype is the alchemist, but she also is such a good expression of the lover. But she has a couple songs about her new relationship with Travis Kelce, and they just make me want to flirt and they make me want to make out with my husband. Like it just activates that girlish, like flirty lover part of me. So I really love being around lover brands in whatever capacity they're showing up because it wakes up such a fun part of you, right? And if any of you are, yes, the deep version, and yes, I am. Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, you got me obsessed with it. Good. If what was I gonna say? I forgot. I forgot. But yeah, I love the lover brand. I love. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. If any of you work with the goddesses or you're familiar with goddess archetypes, I have a whole program about the goddess archetypes because I love them so much. But Aphrodite is the epitome of the lover, right? And she's known as the goddess of love and beauty, which she is, but she's also a lot deeper than we give her credit for. So Aphrodite is all about creation. Really, at its core, a lover brand is about creation, right? If you think about sex, which we see the lover represented as a lot, like what is that a means for? Well, it's a means for creating new life, right? So the lover brand is really, 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 really creative, and that creation, her creations are birthed from her passion. They're birthed from her being present, being in her body, being in her life. So this is something, as you all know, right? I'm preaching to the choir here, but the hustle mentality, the busy mentality, the booking your calendar out for, months straight and not having any kind of breathing room, the lover is here to really fight against that, really to show you like life isn't meant to be like that. So anytime you can stop and just like enjoyment's a huge part of the lover. So for y'all as the lover archetype, like really working on really just enjoying and taking in that first sip of coffee in the morning or the first like really beautiful batch of strawberries you get this summer, right? Like letting your teeth sink into it, taking time to just lay in the grass and stare at the clouds and like love it, love everything that you're doing. Andrea says I resonate with enjoying. Ooh, yeah, joy, enjoying, enjoyment, and really making that one of your biggest goals, which feels kind of counterintuitive for that to be a goal, right? But that's going to be an example for those of us that struggle with that. And Marianne, yours is interesting to me, being Taurus rising and Aries moon, because Aries is kind of like, or not kind of, Aries is the divine masculine, right? And then Taurus is the divine feminine. So that's like such a cool balance. Yes, there's magic in everything. Heather, exactly. So there's a difference between beauty and luxury, right? Like luxury is made, luxury is manufactured, and luxury is awesome. Any kind of luxury brand that you see in the marketplace, like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, anything like that, right? That is an expression of the lover brand. But beauty is different. Beauty is finding enjoyment and finding magic in the first daisy that pops up in the spring, right? After the winter, anything like that. Just looking at how the shadows are playing on the wall, taking in a deep inhale when you get a new perfume that just makes you feel so special. Anything like that, any moment in life, it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't even have to cost any money. You know that expression, the best things in life are free. Like the lover is such a beautiful example of that. Okay, so we have Heather, we have Andrea, and is there anybody else that told me you're a lover? Put it in the comments again for me because my comments are being weird on this, but I'm going to look at your love gates first. Okay, so Andrea, you have gate 46 as well. So that is one of the 4 love gates, and that one's about love of the body. And it shows up as like taking care of our body, right? Like really pursuing healthy activities and that kind of thing. But the bigger underlying reason for that is because we love our body because it's a portal to the divine. So really understanding that the more you can take care of your physical temple that you live in, the more you're going to be connected to the magic that's available to you through source, through the divine, right? Through that feminine energetic approach to life. Okay, so we looked at Marianne's love gates. We looked at Andrea's. We're looking at, and anyone that's live with me that is the lover that didn't share your chart, feel free to tell me what your love gates are. If you have gate 10, gate 15, gate 25, or gate 46. Okay, I am going to go over those too. I don't see any more charts that have those with anyone live, but if you have gate 10 defined in your chart, so gate 10 is the love of self. It's all about self-love. It's all about really building up that deep, deep, deep love for yourself and being your own advocate, right? So it's like the person that loves you most in the world is yourself. That is gate 10. It's not selfish, it's not conceited. It's this deep love and respect for yourself, right? Giving yourself just as much love as you would give any other soul. And that's something that unfortunately is hard for a lot of us to do. But human design is such a beautiful tool because it can open our eyes to the fact like, oh my gosh, I'm not offering myself the same compassion, the same respect, the same attention, the same dedication that I am offering to this person or to that thing. So really working on loving yourself more than anything else is where it starts, and that allows you to be such a abundant and overflowing vessel to love others on that deep way and to teach them how to love themselves as well. Marianne said, yep, and my incarnation cross gates 1 and 2, yin and yang. Yep. Heather said, yes, I feel there's a big distinction between luxury and beauty. Yep, agreed. And they're both beautiful, right? They're both perfect. They're both so special in their own right, but there is a big difference. Andrea said, oh, thank you for that. I struggle with my body. Good to know I'm in the right path to care of it. It's on my mind all the time how to have more compassion. Yeah, so that's what gate 46 is really all about. And I love brands that have gate 46 that do any kind of somatic work or somatic healing or nervous system regulation, or even just pure like working out, you know, like a physical trainer or something like that. But it really is why are we showing up for our body? Why are we dedicating ourselves to taking care of it? Why are we saying no to the bag of Cheetos in the pantry and instead opting for a salad? And it's not about deprivation, it's not about punishment, it's not about It doesn't stem from any kind of not good enough. Like the lover, regardless of what it is, can find the enoughness in everything. Even if she's at the dentist getting a cavity filled, the lover can find a way to find something beautiful in that moment, right? Something that makes that moment enough, something that makes that moment worthy of love. And so normally, you know, life is, it's easier to find like things to be grateful for, but even in the hardest moments, the lover can find love because she is love. So the more that you can just work on that, like I mentioned this, but it's really important for the lover, really paying attention to how are you physically feeling in your day to day. Are you numbing out? Are you disassociating? Or are you allowing yourself to feel all of your feelings? Okay, so the next love gate that we have is, let's see, Lauren Becker has gate 10 defined. Oh wait, I already talked about that one. So gate 10 and gate 46 we talked about. I'm trying to find a chart that has 15 or 25. Give me one second. Because those are the next two. A lot of gate 10s. A lot of gate 46. All right, I guess I don't need to find one to talk about it, do I? So with gate 25, that is the gate of the spirit. That one is all about pure innocence. It is about this like childlike faith, this childlike trust in the divine. So it is really knowing and really living through, living with the truth that something bigger and something just like that is pure love is taking care of us. So this is any kind of spiritual practice. This is any kind of religious practice, right? This is connecting with something bigger than yourself. So this is, if you have this in your chart and you're the lover brand, if you have gate 25 defined, which that one's going to show up in that diamond shape in the center of your chart. And if there's a circle around it that's colored in, that means it's defined for you. So if you have gate 25, it means you really are here to show us what it looks like to live a life where you know that you are deeply loved by God. You are deeply loved by the divine. You are deeply loved by the cosmos. And that doesn't mean that your brand has to talk about spirituality or that your brand has to talk about religion or that your brand even has to talk about God. It just means like showing up that way with deep trust in something bigger than you, right? Deep trust in this divine father or this divine mother that you know you are taking care of. It is this very childlike trust and release and surrender. And when you show up like that, it makes people curious, right? It makes people curious about what you know and what you have, and it makes your brand magnetic in itself. And then the last love gate is gate 15. And this one is called the gate of humanity. So gate 15 is all about a deep love for humankind, a deep love for other people. So of course this starts with yourself because you're included in humankind and you're included in that group, but it's really, you know, it's the humanitarian. It is knowing deep in your bones without a shadow of a doubt that every single soul that has ever come to this planet and ever will come to this planet is worthy of equality and worthy of deep, 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 deep love, despite anything that they've accomplished, despite anything that they are, despite anything that they've done. They are all equal and worthy of love. So the way that this shows up in your brand, and remember, the gates are given gifts, are God-given gifts, right? They are these natural qualities and characteristics that just exist within us that we have and that we can strengthen and that we can learn how to really leverage in our brand and in our life as well. So if you have gate 15, you're naturally going to be exuding this. The way that you look at people is going to be, it's going to make them feel really seen and really cared for and really loved. But you can use that natural perspective, right? That natural view of life in your messaging and in your client experience, and really just kind of be extra about it, of making everyone feel really welcome and really seen and really part of something. So if you have gate 15 in your chart, people are going to feel really part of something when they stumble upon your brand and when they become part of your audience and when they become a client. So gate 15 is really cool because you can just trust that people feel like your brand just feels like a big hug to them. Okay, so now I'm going to look at your Venus gates. Okay, so I'm going to start with Marianne's Venus gates, because like I was saying, our Venus gates represent our brand values, and that what that means on a deeper level is what we love and what we cherish. And so I really like to look at the Venus gates because it gives you really good insight into different actions that you can take in your brand, right? Because when you care about something, when you cherish something, it's easy to show up for it. It's easy to be there for it. It's easy to think about it. It's easy to get on board with it, and it's easy to be excited about it. So, Marianne, your unconscious Venus is in gate 17, and this one is called the gate of the following. And your Venus gates are actually the exact same as my Mercury gates, which is interesting. But gate 17 is called the gate of the following, and this one is, first of all, it is about sharing your opinions, but doing so in a really loving way. So, gate 17 has this very diplomatic approach to it. When you explain something to someone, when you explain your perspective, Heather says she has gate 15. Do you resonate with what I was saying about gate 15? So, Marianne, when you share your opinion, right, when you share your perspective, and this can be like in an argument with someone, not like a heated argument or an angry argument necessarily, but gate 17 allows you to really lovingly open up someone's mind and someone's ears to a new perspective, which is beautiful, right? That is expansion. That is such a feminine, energetic led way to get people on the same page. So gate 17 in its high expression, it never shows up as like forcing someone to believe you or forcing someone to agree with you or like yelling at them until they believe you. It's never going to show up as like scaring someone into agreeing with you or joining you or something like that, right? Like we see the really low expression of gate 17 with like Southern church mentality, like Baptist church and things like that. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, so I saw this a lot, but like that whole fire and brimstone approach where you're trying to just terrify people of hell to get them to join the church, like that is not an expansive approach, right? There's such a bigger and more beautiful way to get someone to consider your perspective and then agree with it. So that being one of your values, Marianne, the way that that can start to show up in your brand, if you're not doing this already, which I assume you probably you probably are, but it would look like really, first of all, being bold about your own opinion, really loving how your own brain works, right? Really loving how you perceive things and how you understand things, and then sharing that with people, but sharing it in a way where you're still holding space for them to have their own opinion, right? If they don't agree with you, that's okay. That's totally fine. But the more that you can embody and exemplify what you believe in and what you think is true, and then the more that you can explain it in that really diplomatic and fair way, the more that people are going to start to see what you mean and be like, yeah, I agree with that actually. Like, that's amazing. I'm so glad that she shared this because this opened up my eyes to a whole new way of seeing life. Okay, and then your conscious Venus is in gate 62. I think that's a 62. It's kind of blurry. Let me know if it's 52 and I'm looking at it wrong. But gate 62 is it's called the gate of express details, and it is all about really understanding complex topics in a simple way, being able to explain concept topics in a simple way. So it's often referred to as the esoteric translator, which means that things like tarot, things like human design, things like astrology, and I actually have noticed this about you in the comments that you were leaving in during the masterclass and on the different posts, like you understand things in a very you understand deep and complex things in a way where you can explain them very simply. And that's a beautiful thing. So, what that means in terms of your brand values is you really do value and cherish and see the magic and see the divinity. Can y'all see my cat right now? I don't know if the camera is showing this part, but she's attacking my hand right now. Bree, be nice. Be nice. What was I saying? So it is about really valuing and really cherishing like the divine messages that can feel complicated, can feel deep, can feel like a different language, right? And then sharing that with others in a simple way based on your opinions, based on your ow, stop it. Based on how you understand them and how you have processed them in your own understanding. Okay, so next let's look at Heather's Venus placements and talk about what that means. Heather, did you share your chart? I don't think I saw it. Put your Venus gates in the chat if you want to. You don't have to, but I will speak to them if you want to share. Okay, and then I'm going to look at Andrea's. Am I saying your name correctly? Let me know if I'm mispronouncing it. Okay, so your unconscious Venus is in gate 42, and this one is called the gate of increase. So this one is all about, it's really about like giving and giving big, but from this place of non-attachment. Just giving for the pure love of giving, giving for the pure joy of giving. And this is going to be possible from the deep understanding and embodiment of overflow, right? Of abundance, of gratitude. Like I have more than enough and I'm going to share because I have excess. So that can be with your knowledge, with your understanding, with your time, with your money, right? There's a lot of different ways that you can actually like express this with gate 42, but the gate of increase says that the more that you give from that place of just pure joy of giving, right? Pure love of giving, the more it will come back to you. So one really, really important caveat here though with gate 42 is what it is not saying is the more that you give, the more that you get. The giving has to be from this place of like, I am giving without any expectation of return. I am giving simply because I want to. I am giving because I love to give. I love these people. I love this message. I love this information. I love these tools that I'm sharing. So that's the big, big caveat there because there is such thing as overgiving, right? And giving from that place of pressure and giving from that place of expectation and then not receiving because you're not open and you're not giving from the place of like excess. Um, but that means that is how your brand is really designed to grow. That's how your brand is designed to increase. So just for an example of this, I have gate 42 in my conscious moon. And so that really, when I was first starting this business and thing like my marketing strategy was kind of vague. Everything was kind of vague because I hadn't really started to show up that much yet. I saw gate 42 and that really was such an eye opener to that my brand is here to give and it's here to give in a huge way. Like I throw information around, I throw mini readings around, right? I throw trainings around like confetti without any kind of expectation of increase. But by doing so and doing it like that, my brand has increased steadily and like had big quantum leaps and stuff. And I credit it all to the mindset and the guidance of gate 42. So that's something definitely for you to sit with is where do you feel like you have so much or where could you reframe your mindset so that it does feel like you have a lot and you can give in that way. And then your conscious Venus is in gate 31. So this one is the gate of assurance. Gate 31 is one of the leadership gates, and this one is all about really being confident and a strong and a bold leader for your people. So looking at these two together, it means that you really cherish giving your leadership skills, giving your leadership abilities, giving your leadership energy. So how can you become the most like love focused leader? This is an interesting one to explore and to contemplate because we again like with the whole old paradigm versus new paradigm conversation, you know, we are used to seeing leaders that are manipulative or they're aggressive or they're scary, right? People are like the devil wears Prada. Miranda Priestley is like a really good example of that, where people are just terrified of her. So she runs a tight ship, right? Things are effective in her world, but it's not from a place of love, it's from a place of fear. So that's not the only way to lead effectively, though, right? Especially with lover brands, because like I mentioned, I really do believe that you are the new leaders of the new paradigm. So, how can you really lead your audience, lead your clients, lead your brand, lead yourself from a place of just pure love and expect that people are going to show up in a big way, right? They're going to do a good job because they want to, not because they feel scared, but because they want to, because they feel loved and they feel safe and they feel seen and they feel respected. Okay, let me check the comments, see if y'all are. It's the same as Andrea. Okay, cool. No, I don't. I didn't, but I have 23 and 7. Perfect. 23 and 7. I'll speak to those in just a second. Thank you. I do have much, all for free. Once it's donation or paid, there is no very little amount of people that shows up. So when are you saying when you share stuff for free, people don't show up? That would be something to look at then. Like where when you're sharing for free, when you are putting your message out there, what is the energy behind it? Is there like a, you know, I put this out there, there should be people here, Or can you reframe that? Can you step into that more like, I am so thankful that I have all of this information that I get to share? Okay, Heather, so your unconscious Venus is in gate 23, and this one is called the gate of assimilation. So this one I love. This is also about embodiment. There is a lot of material, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of teaching that exists in the world, right? Especially just in our space online where we show up. There's a lot of courses, there's a lot of programs, there's a lot of everything that's available to us to consume mentally, to learn, and to let our brain consume. However, there's a huge difference between understanding the theory of something and actually embodying it and living it and feeling it. So, gate 23 is all about the actual integration of information, the integration of theories, the integration of knowledge. And again, like it's just such a beautiful example of the lover as the new leader of the new paradigm. So, in your work, when you're out there sharing your content and sharing your systems and sharing your strategies, how can you help people to actually like pause and bring it into their body, right? To actually start living it rather than just thinking it. So that's going to be something that your brand really values and that your brand is this example of. And that's going to be such a beautiful guiding question for your brand from the lover perspective is how can I help people actually like move this information from their body into their life? How can I help them be present with it, right? How can I help them embody it? How can I help them live it? And then gate 7 for your conscious Venus, gate 7 is called the gate of uniformity. So this one has like this militant vibe with it. It likes organization, it likes patterns, it likes things to be clean, it likes things to be linear. It doesn't always show up just like that, but if you notice yourself like being really talented with organization or with a consistent schedule or with anything that's like a routine or like a regiment, that can be helpful. So, looking at these two together, this might mean that your brand really values creating routines and creating schedules and creating regiments for people to help them actually embody the work that you're taking them through. There's a lot of, and this is interesting. I think this is really interesting for a lover brand because the lover is that feminine energy, right? And when we think of feminine energy, we think of flow, like free flow, and we think of like no schedules, no constrictions, no agendas. But that's not always true, especially if you do have other parts of your chart, because we always need to look at the chart holistically. We can look at little components like we do in these readings and talk about what they mean, but ultimately, before you make a decision, of course, always use your authority, but before you use your chart as guidance, really understanding the chart holistically, like how Marianne shared that she has gates 1 and 2 in her incarnation cross. That's really important because that means there is that balance between the masculine energy and the feminine energy for her. Same thing with you, Heather. Gate 7 is more of like the masculine energy stuff, right? And masculine energy is not the enemy. Masculine energy is beautiful and it's a very, very, very vital tool to make all of this work. But that looks more like having systems, having structure, having schedules to help people actually embody things. So basically, like helping people create a container that's going to hold all of that flowy feminine magic that you're here to offer them. Okay, so we're almost right at the hour. So let me know if you have any questions that have come up about the lover archetype or how you can use her or, sorry, my screen is distracting me. How you can use her or how you can step into her bigger and more boldly in your brand. Embodiment is massive for me and I'm super good at being organized. Oh, routines, gosh, structure is so important. That's amazing. I love that you resonate with that. It this is like something that I feel strongly about, but I feel like in the online space in the spiritual world, like we have pushed back so much against structure and schedule that like now the messaging is on the other side of the like the pendulum has swung to the other side of the spectrum, right? Where it's like no schedule, just wake up and then figure out what you want to do. And that works for some people, but it doesn't work for everyone. So I like when I see brands that are bringing feminine energy and feminine magic into the world through structure and through through routines and through systems. So I love that that resonates with you. Yeah, cool. Well, this was fun. Like I said, I'm sending out an email about the lover archetype. She is one that I do find is misunderstood because we just see one very, very small version of her, one small example of her displayed in the media and in books and in stories and in movies and stuff like that. But there's a lot to her. So any of the archetypes can fit with any type of business, with any type of specialty, with any type of niche, with any type of industry. It just means like understanding the essence and the foundational components of that archetype and learning how to bring it into the work that you're doing. Or if you don't have a business yet, it can really help guide you and say, like, I'm this archetype and I like to do this kind of thing. So that makes a lot of sense for me to now go into this niche or this industry. But I just wanted to say that because sometimes, because of those small examples that we have with certain archetypes, people automatically think that means that they have to rebrand or pivot or change their offers or change their focus or change their specialty, and that's not the case at all. So the lover is a prime example of that. You can have a brand that's about sex. You can have a brand that's about romantic relationships. You can have a brand that's about like physical beauty, but you can also have a brand that's about anything else, right? Anything else, because we can bring love into all of it. So the lover, of course, she's about love, but not just like sexy bow chicka bow wow love. She is about depth. She is about presence. She is about gratitude. She is about feeling. She is about living. The lover is the most alive archetype that there ever has been. The free spirit is also very alive, but the lover is so alive. She is just celebrating every single second that she got to take another breath, right? She is celebrating every single moment that she feels anything, whether it's like she feels the most depressed she's ever been or she feels the most excited she's ever been. She celebrates every single little moment of life because she truly understands what a gift it is, and she loves life. She loves herself, she loves people, she loves everything. She loves love, and her brand is going to be a constant celebration of love. And what that does, it's such a gift to the world because you are constantly reminding people of what it feels like to be loved, to be around love, right? And how important love is, because at the end of the day, love really is the most important thing, but it's hard sometimes. So for you to show up just fully embodying that, you really wake up the lover in everybody else, and that makes the world a better place. All right, everyone, thank you so much for being here with me for day 2 of the 12 Days of Archetypes. What else do I have to share with you? If you have questions about Spellbound, if you want to take this archetype work and really creating a magnetic brand through your human design, if you want to take it deeper, Spellbound is the program for you. So this is a combination of pre-recorded content that will be released as modules, but then we'll also have weekly group calls, and we have a private Facebook group. So you'll have lots of one-to-one time with me, lots of time with the other members of the cohort, but that way you can show up in a huge, big, embodied way in your business and know that you are living in alignment with who your brand came here to be and who your soul came here to be. So doors are open now. We close May 3rd, and as soon as you enroll, you will get instant access into Brand Rising, which is all about really activating your archetype within you. Oh, Andrea, thank you so much. I'm so glad to hear that. She said, "What a wonderful feeling in my body listening to your words." That is a very lover thing to say. I love that. Awesome, y'all. Well, thank you so much. The lover is such a gift, and I'm so excited to see how you really start to awaken her and strengthen her and step into her through your brands. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.